Hello and welcome back to the Cynical Optimists podcast, the larger-than-life podcast with the smaller-than-life budget. I am Phill.
And I'm Nick.
And this week we are joined by my sister and my partner in A Bridge Big Knickers, Vicky.
Hi!
Because we're going to be talking about the 3D platform, well, the indie 3D platformers of 2017. So that's Poi, that's Yooka-Laylee, and that's A Hat in Time. Because I still cannot afford a Switch for Mario Odyssey. And that's why. So anyway, film news, I guess.
Film and TV. Not a lot has happened this week. Oh, by the way, it's Black Friday week when this will go out. Well, it's Cyber Monday, technically, when this will go out.
Yes, I find most of the news sites are just, these are the best deals you can get. I'm like, well, that's not really news.
Literally, in terms of film and TV, that's all I've been seeing is where to get the best TV merch on Cyber Monday. There's discounts on the Switch at the moment.
Yeah, but I still can't afford it. Although I have been looking at the ones where it's pay a little bit each month. But then I remember I don't own a TV yet, so it kind of seems a bit like the wrong order, almost.
No, that's fair. So, in terms of TV news, there's a new Western on Netflix called Godless. I haven't actually watched it yet, but it looks real good. I'm just excited to see the Western genre back. Wasn't
the whole thing with Godless, it's like a town full of women? Or something like that.
It's about religion and... it's got Jeff Daniels in it as well.
Because I know there was one show that was about a town full of women and somebody counted in the first episode 70% of the lines were still given by male characters.
Really?
Yeah, somehow. Right. I'm not really sure. It was one of those things that people were trying to make a deal out of on Twitter.
I don't know if it is Godless. It might do. I don't know.
It rings a bell as being similar to that. I know it was Wild West-ish.
I'm just excited to see Westerns back because we've got Westworld as well, which has just hit Blu-ray, so I'm going to try and pick that up for Christmas. It's written by Jonathan Nolan, Westworld.
Okay.
Chris Nolan's brother.
Yeah, the one that didn't help with Dunkirk.
Yes, so as a result, I didn't feel Dunkirk was very good. Can you see how I'm stalling on the TV and film news here?
It's almost as if you don't have very much.
Just padding it out on a show I haven't seen.
Reviewing a show you haven't seen. Have you
well,
seen
I have
The
seen.
Punisher?
I'm up to episode 7 of The Punisher, and it's still pretty slow going. Again, the side characters haven't calmed down. Although a friend who's further ahead than me has said that they kind of tie in a bit better with all the plot lines towards the end. So, I'll update this every week. What I am up to date with is Peaky Blinders, the new season. Have you ever watched it?
No, although I've got Netflix now, so I could watch from the beginning.
Definitely worth a watch. I think we're on season 4, and the cast just keeps getting bigger. We got Aidan Gillen from Game of Thrones in the new season. Adrian Brody is in the new series. Big Hollywood actor, Adrian Brody. That's pretty cool.
I recognise that name, so he must be big.
He's in all of Wes Anderson's films. He's in Predators. He's in lots. He's in that King Kong one, the Peter Jackson one.
Oh yeah.
He's the guy with big old rectangular shaped face, you know?
I think I know who you're talking about. Now I'm just remembering how long that film was. Ridiculous, wasn't it?
Oh my goodness. Wasn't it 3 hours or something?
It's over 3 hours.
But I really liked it.
The Peter Jackson one? Wow.
Yeah. I've just thought it was a really good way to tie in the relationship with the monkey and the girl. I think some of the dinosaur stuff wasn't needed.
That was my favourite bit.
But it was pretty cool to see a dinosaur fighting King Kong.
Yeah, he broke that dinosaur's jaw. That was the most exciting bit of the film for me.
So I do enjoy it, but if I'm going to watch it, I have to be right, I've got dedicated this amount of time, now I can watch it.
So it's a lot of the day to put aside. Have you seen the new Kong, Skull Island?
No, that's meant to be kicking off some kind of cinematic universe, isn't it?
Some kind of Suicide Squad.
Because doesn't that have Loki in it?
Yeah, Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah. Hiddleston, yeah.
Yeah, I saw the trailers and it looked pretty cool.
It looked cool, yeah.
Have you seen it?
No. Just padding this news out.
This week on the podcast, films we haven't seen and TV shows we haven't seen.
But they all look cool.
Really cool. But new series of Peaky Blinders, just most excellent. I would definitely recommend catching up with the rest of that on Netflix. It's really stylish. Tom Hardy's in it. Cillian Murphy's in it. It's a great show.
Gotta love a bit of Tom Hardy. Oh. He does really good films.
Really good stuff.
Sorry, hashtag.
He's I was thinking the other day, watching The Punisher, like, John Bernthal plays the Punisher as, like, the American Tom Hardy. They're both, like, mega gruff. I would love to see a TV show of them where they just gruff off.
Or would you like to see a TV show where they do the opposite?
Oh, like, okay, and they're really well spoken.
Or, like, they've got to do things like they're running, like, a door-to-door cleaning service. Or, like, a cooking show.
Yeah, I'd see that.
Yeah.
Because have you seen Legend? That's got
I
Tom
have,
Hardy.
yes, 2 Tom Hardys.
2 Tom Hardys, and I thought he did a really good job.
He's fantastic.
Like, doing those gangsters. But I did find one of the gangsters really funny. He kept on just stating that he was, like, flat out gay.
Yeah.
And, like, no one questioned him about it because he was just so hardcore that you didn't want to mess with this guy. Because there was at a time when you just didn't do that.
Yeah.
He did it because he could get away with it.
He played both those characters really well. That's worth watching. Amazon Prime, I think that's all.
Ah, yes. I also have that streaming. So.
Okay, the actual bit of news I have got this week is, you know that petition? Have you heard about this petition the fans have put on for Zack Snyder's cut of Justice League?
Oh dear.
We spoke about Justice League on last week's podcast, but this week the news is people want the extended cut, the Zack Snyder original cut with Junkie XL's soundtrack, because apparently that was recorded as well.
Right, yeah, I can believe that.
And he did the Batman v Superman and Man of Steel soundtracks with Hans Zimmer, and like he was really good, to be fair. So I'm interested to see that.
I'd be interested to see the cut, but my gut feeling is it will be worse.
It will be worse.
Than the theatrical release.
Although it has got, hang on, let me just get the actual number of signatures. It's like 126,000 people have signed this.
What?
Yeah.
And that's correct as of Saturday morning.
Yeah. So it'd probably be more by the time this goes out. It's absolutely nuts. I think it would be worse.
Yeah.
I think what worked about Justice League for me is that its editing style was kind of, it's like that Force Awakens kind of, a little bit like choppy, jumpy, but like it gets you through the movie. It's exactly how a Hollywood film should be cut. Like, don't think about it.
We won't go into too much into spoiler territories because Vicky's not seen it, but yeah.
I definitely know quite a few films that have been ruined by actually watching the extended cut, and some that have been better because of the extended cut, like Lord of the Rings, Hobbit. I think the extended cut is, it makes it longer.
Is The Hobbit better as extended?
Personally, I think it is.
Really?
Because then it adds more stuff that you know from the books. But then if you don't know the books and you think it's a long-winded tale, then it's even more long-winded.
That's exactly me.
But then, bit old school, but Mary Poppins actually has an more extended to it. And they say that it actually makes the film worse. Because you know the Portobello Road song?
Yeah.
Apparently it goes on and on and on.
Do they extend supercalifragilisticexpialidocious? Do they make a longer version of that?
Oh,
a longer word?
No, not Mary Poppins. Bedknobs and Broomsticks. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, you're on the record now.
I know. Bedknobs and Broomsticks has an extended cut. But yeah, apparently it just makes it longer and longer and longer and longer.
Oh no. That's a great film though.
It is a great film.
Let's talk about that. Yeah, so would you sign the petition? I haven't, just for the record.
No, I wouldn't.
Although I would watch it.
If it gets enough signatures and goes ahead, I'd be curious to watch it.
Only if it comes included with the regular Blu-ray.
But it's like the morbid curiosity of licking a D battery. Like, you're not going to like it. But you're like...
what would happen?
What would happen? Or those people that lick the Switch cartridges because Nintendo said they taste like... Put that stuff on them to make them taste bad so people wouldn't eat them.
What?
So people licked them. Because Switch cartridges are small enough to swallow.
Oh, jeez.
But that's why they've been... And also, like, small enough for animals to swallow, so they've been coated in this stuff that makes them taste bitter.
Right.
And loads of people just licked Switch cartridges because they're like, does it taste bitter? Yeah. Yes, it does.
Jeez.
Oh my god.
But if it's included on the Blu-ray and they don't charge that much extra for it, I would probably do that.
Yeah, if I had to buy one version, I'd buy the theatrical cut, but if both were bundled together, then...
In fact, my copy of Logan came with, and I think with the regular Blu-ray as well, they included the noir version in black and white. I thought that was a really good move.
That's cool.
That was really nice of them. Yeah.
I love Logan.
Oh, it's fantastic.
It's awesome, isn't it?
Have you seen my Steelbook?
No.
This is part of TV and film news.
Yeah. Also, I should point out this is the first week we're recording like all in the same room, so Nick can do this.
What? Ah, that is awesome.
It was done by the artist of Old Man Logan, the artwork on the front of that.
And Nick's gonna throw a picture of it into the editing.
Oh no! Shot myself in the foot there. I mean, I do have to do less this week because we're all in the same room, as you pointed out.
Yeah, so you can throw in one picture.
Great.
One awesome picture. So.
To be fair, I threw in a few screenshots when I was talking about the EA stuff last week, so...
Yeah, I noticed. Speaking of EA...
What have they been up to this week? So have you been hearing about the Battlefront 2 stuff, Vicky?
No.
Basically, do you know what loot boxes are?
No.
Do you have any... It's basically like...
I'm sorry.
It's basically like paid extra stuff. Like,
oh, okay, yeah.
You can
on
pay...
mobile games.
Like on mobile games, you
can... Yeah, you can pay for extra.
Yeah.
You can do it through the PlayStation, can't you?
Yeah.
Because we've got a PlayStation at home and sometimes we complain that, you know, you get this bit and then you have to pay extra to get that bit and that bit and that bit.
But yeah, basically with the new Star Wars Battlefront, it was turned up to like 11 by EA, to the point where people basically it all started with a really disastrous thing on Reddit where someone complained because apparently it was either a really slow grind because it was either XP you get by playing games or you could pay to get it immediately. But they made the rate you get this currency so slow that it took you like several hours to get like one
and
thing.
Am I right in saying that the latest Star Wars Battlefront, to get any of the main characters, you have to do like 400 hours of gameplay or something ridiculous?
That's the thing, or you pay the money.
Oh, okay.
Some great memes from the back of it though. There's one where Obi-Wan's like confronting Anakin, and he says like he's on Mustafar. He's like, "Don't try it, Anakin. I paid for the high ground." that was my favourite thing to come out of this.
But yeah, basically they got a huge backlash about that to the point where the financial bit has actually been disabled in Star Wars Battlefront 2 for the time being. And apparently Disney are pissed because it made like the main news channels. This wasn't just gaming news sites. This was like it made it into like regular newspapers.
Articles about like should like loot boxes be like it literally was the figurehead of like loot box like arguments. Like.
And now in Belgium, Hawaii, Australia and France, elected officials have come out saying that loot boxes should be illegal. Because essentially, at the end of the day, no matter how sophisticated they get, video games are for children. And
exactly.
It's kind of, and it's also the kind of link between it and like predatory like gambling, like casinos. Because the thing is with loot boxes, some of them you're not even guaranteed like the contents. So you're basically paying in hopes of getting something, and that kind of connects it to the gambling and the gambling mentality of seeing everyone else with cooler stuff than you when you're playing online.
I'm sorry, but certain prices for games, like the prices that you have to pay, it kind of is an unwritten thing that you get a certain amount of things in that payment. These days there's so much extended content that actually has such an influence on the game.
Yeah.
It's making the original price say £35 and then it's £25 for this extra and £25 for that extra. It's making it hundreds and hundreds of pounds.
I think from the first Battlefront,
just to play a game.
Exactly. The first Battlefront, like it flagged up a bigger issue to me than the second Battlefront because you buy the game and it came with so little content on the original, like on the original thing, and then everything else was DLC, like including Rogue One as a DLC and everything like that. I don't know, just you got very little game when you bought that up front, and as you said, they're expensive. Like it's usually like the going rate's like 45-50 for.
Yeah, you're getting as high as £60 for like the base version, with even more spent for like deluxe or digital deluxe.
And let's be honest, the people are buying these games are either big gamers or they're big movie enthusiasts. So they want original content. They want the characters. They don't want to have to pay extra or wait or.
That's the thing.
Play as like nobody number one.
It was basically a sure thing, but actually, I read in the news this week that the number of boxed copies sold at launch is 60% down on the first Battlefront. Now, they think this is
Disney must be pissed.
This is partially due to the trend towards digital downloads, but they think at least 30% of it is due to the backlash regarding the loot boxes.
And I reckon a good portion of that's probably because Battlefront 1 wasn't all it hyped up to be.
So, yeah. And
Did that win Gaming Disappointment of the Year last year? I can't remember.
Well, the game came out like 2 years ago, so no.
On our last
awards, I think we gave it something else.
Oh, okay. It got a nomination for Disappointment.
To be honest, yeah, and it probably will this year, to be honest. But as a direct response, well, I'll say that actually Hawaii representative Chris Lee and Sean Quinlan had a press conference where they kind of said, do not buy Star Wars Battlefront 2 for your kids because of these kind of practices. And actually one of them included the quote, "It's a trap," which was quite
nice.
But that's why games like the Lego franchise are getting so many people buying it, because at the end of the day it's a simple game that a kid can play, and it's got the actual characters and the storylines that you want.
You could play one of those games for days and days.
And if you still never get all the coins.
Or all of the...
mini kits.
Yeah.
Mini kits. And True Jedi if you get all the coins, yeah.
If Disney actually just let out a Battlefront Star Wars that just had the characters and good gameplay, they'd get so much more money than trying to add all these like hidden extras and
because I'd have bought it if it didn't have any of that stuff, to be honest. Potentially even at launch. And that would have been what, like...
Well, I was looking at Black Friday deals, as I've mentioned, and they did have PlayStations going for like bundled with Battlefront for about £200, which isn't bad, but I'm not even that fussed about it.
But yeah, and in response as well, one of EA's other recent games, Need for Speed Payback, ironic title, has apparently scaled back its microtransactions massively in response to this as well.
Good.
Because that was another game where you could like pay to progress and stuff like that, and so
start off with a Ford Fiesta and everyone else is driving Ferraris because they've paid for it.
Yeah, that's the thing with the online games, is it's that whole mentality of like, if someone pays and you play against someone who's got better stuff than you, and you're like,
well, exactly, and that's a much better example than Battlefront, because it's like the equivalent of like, oh, but if you win enough races in your Ford Fiesta against these Ferraris, then we'll maybe give you a Ferrari in like a few hundred hours later.
I think the most egregious example is still Call of Duty from a few weeks ago, where they drop the loot box into your game in front of you when you're in a game, so everyone else sees the loot box arrive.
Yeah.
And this is when you're storming Normandy Beach. Oh. So, one, it's quite, disrespectful. It's quite disrespectful historically. Two, it's distracting. And three, it's making all the other players you're with watch you open a loot box because they're trying to... it's basically that toy shop mentality of, he's got the shiny toy, I want it as well.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's move on from that. Otherwise, this podcast will have to be renamed "Complaining About Star Wars Battlefront."
Again. Brackets again.
But our main story is that... Well, the main story is there wasn't much news, so this was kind of the de facto main story. What goal did a man recently complete of games?
Most games... Full stop.
And Vicky, your guess?
Most games produced, like a company, like being part of the most games. Like
You're the closest.
Yay!
Because Nick's wasn't really a guess.
I think mine applies quite generally though. So.
But it was a man called James Earl Cox III recently completed his goal to create 100 games in 5 years.
Oh, yeah, I think it was pretty close.
So he's just finished that. Some of them aren't actually real video games. Some of them are just games with instructions that you play. They're all really weirdly named. So let's pitch a name for a game.
The Squiggle. The Squiggle.
No, but that's probably not too far from...
The Squizzle.
No, I think you got the wrong end of that stick. Let me put it this way. One of them is called Foxbox.
Nice.
Badger Hole.
Yeah, I was going to say, these are probably too bizarre to actually guess, but you've got one that's called Don't Kill the Cow.
Mm-hmm.
One that's called Paul Rudd's American Goose.
Okay. Anything to do with Paul Rudd?
There's you have to wear t-shirts with Paul Rudd's face on it. It's one of the
no
real
voice
games.
acting or anything in there, I guess.
No.
Right.
One called Cheeseburger (in Paradise).
Mm-hmm.
One of them called Tomatoes.
Is there one called Hot Dogs?
No, unfortunately.
No, not interested.
One called Snack.
I like it.
One called It'll All Be Okay.
Aww.
And it goes on. But yeah, he completed making 100 games in 5 years. And doesn't that just make you feel like you haven't been productive?
I want to play it. It will all be okay. I'm very curious. How will it be all okay? Show me.
Well, he made like 2 films in that time. He's made 100 games.
Well, they're all available on his website.
Wow.
And I think a few of them were like game jam games, because they're game jams where you make a game in a few hours.
Right.
So that probably ticked a few off, and a few of them do look like they are incredibly quick and simple to make. But it's kind of a way to get him to like think about game design differently and things like that. And so yeah, I probably I suppose I got my degree during the last 4 years, but I still don't feel like I've been as productive as that.
I wonder if he's had like a full-time job as well.
Yeah, you gotta wonder, don't you?
Good on him.
Yeah. So this is a story that a man has just completed his mission to create 100 games in 5 years. Upon completion, Mr. Cox said in an interview, "Find a creative outlet you enjoy and pursue it. Suffering isn't mandatory. It's a great message to aspiring creatives. In fact, suffering isn't mandatory has now become my response every time I think about joining a gym." So, yeah, got some other news. This is actually kind of superhero-ish, but it's quite a sad one. Did you ever hear of the game Marvel Heroes?
Yeah.
That has been closed down. And apparently all of the staff in the studio were laid off on the day before Thanksgiving.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, that's no good.
Yeah, so Disney apparently have shut it down, and yeah, because it was kind of a rumour for a while, but quite a few of them are taken to Twitter now. And yeah, apparently they're not getting any severance. No.
That's hard.
That is hard. Disney are hard.
Well, they're a multi-billion corporation.
But it's such a characterful mouse.
He is.
Think of the mouse.
And they make such good programs and shows, but unfortunately, behind all that smiling and laughing is just money men.
Yeah.
And women.
Well, that's the thing. Just very quickly back to the EA thing. Apparently, it was hours before the financial microtransactions were ceased in Star Wars Battlefront 2. The head of EA was called for a phone call with somebody from the House of
Walt
Mouse.
Disney himself.
I was going to say they got Walt Disney out of cryogenics. He went around there and tore the place up. What are you doing to my good name? I bought Star Wars.
Throw more money at it.
But yeah, so unfortunately, yeah, there's a lot of developers now looking for work. So,
Oh, bless.
well,
get him onto Mr. Cox,
yeah, well,
He's got 100 more games to make.
In 3 years.
In 3 years, yeah.
Cut the time in half.
You could get an inside staff on there, yeah.
But yeah, wish him all the best in finding new work. But yeah, it's a bit of a sad one. But to lift the tone a bit, Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon includes tribute to the late Satoru Iwata, who was president of Nintendo. But do you know the story around the development of Gold and Silver that he was involved in?
No.
So basically, they wanted to include Johto.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first region, right? No, Kanto.
Kanto was the first region.
Yeah, they wanted to include Kanto and Gold and Silver, but they couldn't find a way of getting it all onto the one cartridge.
Ah, yeah.
So Satoru Iwata actually single-handedly wrote the code to fit both regions into the game. And this is, if you have a Gold or Silver era Pokemon in your party and go to the Game Freak headquarters in-game, one of the members of staff you talk to says how they knew this amazing guy who managed to do this amazing feat and get both the regions into Gold and Silver.
That's awesome.
And it's such a nice little tribute to Iwata, whose son...
That was
Iwata,
amazing. Gold and Silver were just like my childhood.
So yeah, it's quite a nice little way to make tribute to him, because unfortunately, I think it was a year or 2 years ago now he passed away.
Right, yeah.
But yes, and my final thing is, have you seen the new Animal Crossing game that's come out?
Yeah.
Not a new one.
Well, it's a mobile game this time.
Okay.
So it's like because Nintendo have been going out into because they did Pokemon Go and then
Mario Run. And this will be exactly the same in that people will play it for like a day and then they'll ditch it.
Yeah, probably. But this is called Animal Crossing Pocket Camp. And apparently it's kind of like the games.
My Animal Crossing, my original one, hates me every time I come back on. Where have you been? The garden needs to be cut. This needs to be collected.
You know what the best form of torture, if anyone ever needs to torture me, would be to like boot up my old DS and put my copy of Nintendogs in the slot, and then just put the screen in front of me, and I have to just look at them all staring at me with the guiltiest face. All of them are diseased and starving, and because
But the thing is, you get to like run away from those problems. Imagine if it was something with push notifications on your phone, like it popped up.
Oh no!
Oh my god, that mole from Animal Crossing. He basically, if you don't save the game and you go back in, he pops up and he goes, and there's this big bubble, and it goes, why did you not save the game? And like, you have to like keep clicking and clicking and clicking and clicking and clicking and clicking because I didn't save quite a lot. And
but can you imagine if it came in as like a text?
Oh my god, if the little mole popped on my phone, I'll probably
just throw the phone out the window. I can get a new phone.
Oh, that sounds annoying.
Yeah, apparently it's being received reasonably well, but it's mostly people who enjoy Animal Crossing, I'm guessing.
Well, I hope everyone enjoys that for 2 days.
Yeah. And by next week, it'll probably be old news. To be honest, by the time this podcast goes out, it might be old news.
They released an Animal Crossing game?
And now, I guess, on to the discussion. So, this week, we're covering 3 games, and I guess we'll just go through them all in turn.
Yeah, kick us off.
Because I think that'll probably be the best way. Because obviously, me and Vicky work on Banjo-Tooie Bridge,
yes,
just to plug it, a few times during this podcast. So obviously we had a lot of interest in Yooka-Laylee, but first...
Hang on, I've worked on it too.
You have.
Come on.
You are...
Come on, plug with us, plug.
You are our longest running guest star.
Hey.
And you're going to be helping me with some editing as well, so kind of makes you part of the crew, yeah. So yeah, but anyway, let's start with Poi. So, oh shit, it's that Poi, yo.
I was going to say, you could have done a good segue into...
Yooka-Laylee.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Poi came out first.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to do it in that order.
Poi.
And also, I feel we're going to have the least to say about Poi, because you spent most of your time on that one.
The slide.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, Poi, just to give some background, Poi is a game about 2 orphans, a boy and a girl, who go exploring for Explorer medals with an old man in his airship. It plays very much like Mario 64. The levels are of comparable size, would you say?
Yeah.
And you've always got some kind of set mission objective. And it's kind of like a cel-shaded, almost Wind Waker-y style art. And yeah, I like it. It's definitely, you can tell it's got the smallest budget. It's the most indie of the 3 indie games. Because I think it's the only one that didn't get any Kickstarter funding. I'm not sure if it had Kickstarter.
It felt a bit like Pokemon to me.
Yeah, I remember you saying at the time.
The way you're sort of thrown into the adventure and like there's an old man who wants you to collect things.
And he doesn't know if you're a boy or a girl.
And he does shit all himself. So there's a lot of that.
No parents to worry.
No parents to worry.
Yeah. Pokemon it never actually states that if the parents are there or not. Sometimes there's a mum, but they never seem to worry that you're going towns and towns.
Well, it was the first one where you just sort of pop back after like completing the game and you pop back and they're just like, oh hello, I've saved some money for you or something.
Yeah. No, where have you been?
Yeah, exactly.
What time do you call this?
So it's got that kind of it's got that very innocent kind of like
vibe,
free roam. Yeah, I really enjoyed playing it. It was really good fun.
Yeah. So you can in the game there's a few main worlds, and there's like some like supplementary stuff you can do. Part of those are like little challenge levels. So Nick spent some time in the first world, which was quite nice. I quite like the first world.
It's quite fun.
And then spent the rest of his time on a slide level, trying to get the new high score.
And where did I come in the world rankings? Wasn't bad.
It was like 250.
250, I'll take that.
Yeah. Bear in mind, I think the first attempt you made was like 500 and something. So
I cut a lot of time off. That was such a good fun game.
Yeah, I think if I hadn't ushered Nick on to try Yooka-Laylee, we could have just been sat here today with Nick, saying how he spent several hours on that damn slide.
We could have done the podcast with the #1 slide record champion in the world if I carried on that. I knocked 250 off the first time, so...
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's how it works. Just keep on taking 250 off each time.
But, no, all the visuals are pretty cool. I like the characters. I like that there's a little bit of... there's a tiny, moderate bit of threat in those weird... What are they? They're like slugs or something. Yeah, and they make funny noises, yeah. Are they slugs? I can't remember. Oh, there are some slugs.
There are some slugs, but those were like goo things, weren't they?
Goo, yeah.
Yeah. Anything to add about Poi?
To be honest, it's the one I like the least out of the three, so I probably have the least to talk about.
I probably agree, yeah.
Yeah, me too. It's, to be honest, for what I assume is its budget, it did a very good job.
Yeah.
Because I think the other two were just bigger budget games, and I think it's also the cheapest if you wanted to buy it.
But as you said, out of a choice of a game, it's engaging, it's colourful, nice characters,
yeah.
easy gameplay. What more could you want sometimes?
Is, yeah. I mean, it's got a little bit of like, there's frustrating, like, there's bits that you have to actually are quite challenging, like.
Yeah, the platform.
They're probably not. Everyone, like, we didn't record it actually, did we? But people would probably watch me and just be like, "Why do you keep falling off that ledge?"
Yeah,
I don't mean to.
A few bits were kind of precision platforming, weren't they?
Yeah,
yeah.
It's it's not. It didn't feel. It wasn't a drag to play at all. But again, I got very preoccupied by the mini game.
But yeah, I liked how it was quite creative and it did its own thing. So, I was going to say anything else to say? Shall we move on to...
No, let's move on.
So, a lizard and a bat. What's up with that? To quote the Yooka-Laylee rap.
Well, out of all the creatures they could have chosen, in the world, when I first heard it was a lizard and bat, I did think a little bit random, but they do have elements of course, Banjo-Kazooie, with the fact that the bat can carry the lizard and the lizard can get stuff further. There is some interesting elements they can play with. Yeah,
they've definitely, even depending on how random the choice of like animals was, they have actually used their abilities in the game.
And if I was thinking of an evil guy, I would not think of Bumblebee.
No.
And like when you came to like books and an evil guy, I would think like an evil worm, like a bookworm.
Bookworm, yeah.
I would not think a Bumblebee.
And a duck.
And a robot duck.
It's because they could probably get more puns from bees than worms, I guess. Which that game was full of. And
I suppose if they design the worm wrong, then there's a lot more issues with how it looks.
The phallic Kennedy. You could write a whole book on that, couldn't you?
Especially those guys. They'd have just kept on making jokes about it.
Yeah. I love it. That game was really good fun in that it did just have an absolute blast with the genre. I mean, I've probably played nothing from Banjo-Kazooie, but I've watched your guys' Bridge series. I think I know the feel of the game.
Yeah.
It has the right colour palette for one, and it's got the right kind of style of drawing as Banjo-Kazooie did, so you can really tell they're from the same company.
Yeah, and the little like transitions and stuff.
I should mention that Yooka-Laylee is developed by Playtonic, which is mostly comprised of old Rare employees. So they are basically the same people who made Banjo-Kazooie, Banjo-Tooie, which is where this comparison will come up a lot. Although all three games could arguably have been inspired by that era of 3D platformers, either Banjo-Kazooie or Mario 64, or The Wind Waker, I guess, if you wanted to talk art styles. But yeah, Yooka-Laylee looks very much like... It looks the least cartoony of the three in a strange
polished,
way.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the graphics are like really...
And the gameplay is quite easy. Yeah. It's challenging in certain bits, like that bit with the Blue Knight.
Shovel Knight.
I could not do that bit. I was stuck forever, and then I finally was able to do it. And I was like, yay! But it's challenging enough to get frustrated, but not so challenging that you can't do it.
Yeah.
But my main drawback from that game is the size of the worlds.
Yeah.
The worlds are humongous, and it just feels too big. The joy of Banjo-Kazooie is you had lots of little worlds, but you had so many that you kind of just made your progress along quite nicely, whereas opening up more of the world, I don't know, it just
I noticed like when I was playing, they cut off bits that you can't go through, like just to try and narrow it down a bit.
Yeah, it was purely to try and get people to adjust to like the bigger worlds if they come straight from like the Banjo era.
Yeah.
So they had it so you open up half the world and then you open up the rest. And my problem was, like Vicky says, like I'd rather more small worlds.
Yeah.
Like the
different
old
visuals and
Let's be honest, I'm a little bit biased. I kind of love Banjo-Kazooie.
And well, the thing is as well is each level had 25 pages, which were like the jiggy equivalents to get. And after a certain point, you really are just looking like there was not enough direction at times as to where you should be looking when you've only got like one thing left to get.
Yeah, I was going all over the place.
And some stuff was hidden really like you found that coin during your play in the first level. There's a play coins you have to use the arcade machine, and Nick stumbled across it pretty much by accident. But that coin, I actually had to look up where it was because in regular gameplay it wasn't obvious. And I think that was the thing, is like some things were not hidden in like a satisfying location. This might be more something you can agree with, Vicky, because I'm guessing you got a bit further in the game.
Well, the thing was, because of the size of the worlds, I actually lost interest. I haven't actually got too far in the game. But going back, I know I've already said about the size of the worlds, but recently we've done an abridged Big Niggers about our favourite levels on Banjo-Kazooie.
Yeah. And
the joy of the Banjo-Kazooie games is that each level wasn't very big, but they each had a characteristic that we really liked, like Click Clock Wood and Witchy World. They all really went into the theme of the world, whereas because those worlds are so big, I just feel that's kind of lost. It would have been nicer to have smaller worlds, all of different themes, and really.
I was going to say I didn't really feel like it had a specific the one place.
Yeah, your one was the first level was meant to be like a Mayan, like temple-y theme, but as a result, it kind of comes across a bit plain.
Yeah.
Another thing they didn't take from Banjo-Tooie when the worlds got bigger from Banjo-Kazooie, Banjo-Tooie introduced warp pads, so you could hop between different places in the level. Whereas Yooka-Laylee had none of that, so if you need to get from one side of the level to the other, it could take you bloody ages.
Well, you can do a little lizard roll. I like that.
Yeah, but you ran out of stamina. Ran out of stamina.
Well, yeah, I tried to do a little mini game where it was just racing. What was it? It was a cloud.
Oh yeah, and yeah, you can.
I lost badly.
Yeah, because you have to hit the butterflies to keep on refilling your stamina. I think you missed a few.
I missed I think probably all of them.
I don't have any critiques about like the extra characters. I think they're quite similar to the Banjo-Kazooie. Like Mumbo used to turn you into like washing machines and pumpkins, and so did Humbawamba. So the fact that the scientist who's half octopus, I'm right in saying, turns you into a flower, isn't a big deal for me because it's just a bit
What's
silly.
the scientist
Killish.
that's an octopus called?
Dr. Puzz.
Oh, okay, I was going to say they can't go with Doc Ock, can they?
No.
That's obvious.
Yeah, I find the side characters were all like they all did their purpose. Like I thought Trouser got a bit annoying.
Yeah.
He teaches you the moves.
Okay.
And it was like as much as I did enjoy, kind of to an extent, he had one location and you could just
go there.
There was a certain amount of moves you could get each level, and they unlocked when you opened the level, and wherever you bumped into them, you could buy any of the ones you've got so far.
Right. Okay.
Whereas the old games, you had to go and find individual points.
Yeah.
With the right character, which at times you could turn up and they'd be like, "Oh, you can only learn this move if you come back here as just Banjo," and you'd be like, "Oh, okay, I have to go back to the ditch Kazooie comeback kind of thing."
Yeah, that can be a bit grating.
Whereas that can be a bit grating, but
it wasn't so bad because you had the warp pads as well, so
that's the thing. Like,
transition.
A few things were made better. I think the problem was it didn't do enough to modernise the genre.
No. And I thought, because let's say it's a big old factory, they've stolen all the books in the world, why wasn't there more book puns? Why wasn't there more book related levels? I think they could have done so much more with the book aspect and had some silly like history characters, or you know, like a sci-fi world. I'm not sure if there is a sci-fi world.
Oh, the last world is a sci-fi world.
Oh, well,
but it's probably my least favourite world.
Oh, fair enough. Bad choice. Bad choice. I only got up to the swamp.
Okay, so
I'm like free.
Yeah, the fourth world is probably my favourite because it's a casino world, and it's just like quite self-contained. I think it's my least favourite boss because you have to fight him in the cart. I really dislike the carts.
It doesn't help with your gambling addiction, though, Phil.
No, it doesn't. That's why I have to stay away from Battlefront 2. But that's the thing. It had lots of little games and like slot machine games, and also the transformation was a helicopter that fires missiles.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Which was pretty sick because I basically just flew around the level for ages, like firing at the enemies, like pa-chow, pa-chow, pa-chow.
Well, in Banjo-Tooie, you get to do a submarine and do the similar thing, and I always enjoyed doing that. Just driving around and go bang, 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 bang.
I had a real good time with that game. I like that little arcade machine as well.
Where you do the mini games. Yeah. I thought that was a nice addition.
We had a
Rextros.
We did the mini games, didn't we? We raced
tried
against each other.
And then
we tried to record and it didn't record. But it was fun to do, so who cares?
Yeah, we might have another go at some point, but Yooka-Laylee didn't really want to be recorded, did it?
No. But I did like the little race around. And,
yeah.
And I swear he cheated because he probably practiced for hours, but I wasn't that good.
Everyone says that when I beat them at games recently. Anyway,
I had a good time with that one.
Yeah.
Shall we move on to the third and then we can do like comparisons, I guess. But the third game, developed by Gears for Breakfast, is called A Hat in Time. It is the most recent release, coming out last month. And it's about a girl with a top hat who's travelling home and passes a planet, and a mafia man breaks her window and she falls out of her spaceship, and it takes all her spaceship's power supply and she has to get it back. And yeah, I really, really like A Hat in Time.
I've gone there, I really enjoyed it too.
That was my favourite of the three by quite a good margin.
I mean, even before like the mafia hits the window and everything, you're in the bedroom and there's a pile of pillows and you get to swim the pillows.
that game is just pure joy. Like there's a button like where you think you can like go up to a chair and like sit on it and use the controls and stuff. Literally, you press X by the chair or whatever, and you just do a little spin on it and then you jump off again. It's just sheer joy. I love that game.
And like when you see an enemy just sat on the edge, you can go and push them off.
It just pushes them off. I think I got the same guy like 3 times.
But no, I really like A Hat in Time. I think what we were saying about the levels in Yooka-Laylee, the first world in A Hat in Time is so
distinct,
so distinct, and it's so original, like Mafia Town.
Yeah.
And like I do love how they're just all the same character. Like as much as probably saved a lot of time, they're all the same character model, all the same voice. We're like, welcome to Mafia Town.
But the visuals and the gameplay and stuff were just like really just.
And the little girl with the moustache.
Yeah.
I mean, WTF? What was going on with that? But yeah, sure, give a little girl a moustache. At least she's distinctive.
Yeah, I do like the fact it was just a bit odd.
Yes.
But it like kind of embraced it. It was like, yeah, this next level you're gonna go up, fire up. I'm not sure if we got that far when you were playing it, Nick, but we were gonna fire out of a cannon to the mafia base.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think I got fired from a cannon at one point.
Yeah,
that happened. Yeah.
But yeah, you found the girl with the mustache really annoying. Like her voice really annoying.
I thought her voice was a bit annoying.
Yeah.
I was too distracted by her face.
I
was just like, she's got a moustache.
Because that one was the only one of the 3 with actual character voices, was it not?
Yes, that was the only one with voice acting to my knowledge. I don't think Poi did it?
That it's somewhat nice. Like I like a game that's just got like noises, like where they're just like, and then it just puts the text on screen.
Yeah, they just do the voices.
And it's like really random sounds. This one had like voice actors, and I thought the moustache girl was a bit of annoying.
I like the mafia guys though.
Yeah,
I thought that was good. I do get what you mean about the moustache girl.
Let's not.
But I do think some of the other voices though are like you get a Scottish train conductor later on.
Nice.
But that's the thing. Like the levels after the first level, you go into a level that's a movie studio.
Ooh.
And the first level, you're sneaking around the studio between 2 different sets that are filming 2 rival productions, and you can't get spotted. It's kind of like stealthy. And at the end, you get recruited by both films to help them make their films. So you actually it splits off into 2 parts, and I like the mission kind of basis, because that's one of my criticisms. I know Yooka-Laylee was doing the banjo thing of see what you can find, but like being able to use Hat Girl's hat to find your objective, and like that kind of more directed approach through the world. You could still explore, but you ultimately had like this goal that was you had to get to.
I did like the concept of the hats as well, having different powers.
I didn't really even get that far in.
To be honest, I only made one extra hat, and that was at the very end of my time playing it, which was the speed hat. But you collect the yarn, and then you make the new hat, and then you get a new power, and it just adds an extra element that you have to kind of something else to collect, sort of thing.
There's an upgrade you can get for the Speedster hat, which turns it into a moped. And that's the thing. There's all these little details that are just quite charming,
random, and cute.
And I think I only did about half an hour of each game, but like I feel like it's good pacing in that like I'm looking for. I actually want to play more of the 3 games. Like it gave you like enough, but also like that there's potential to like I know there's other worlds, and I know there's like upgrades to the hats and stuff like that. So I'd like be genuinely interested in playing like a lot more.
Yeah, because the two film streams you go down. The chapter is called Battle of the Birds because one is a group of penguins and the other's like a group of crows. But one of them it does a parody of Murder on the Orient Express, where where you find somebody murdered and you have to search the train for clues. And there's like it's kind of stealthy and you can't get seen. You have to find keys to unlock doors and.
I liked a lot of that game.
Yeah. No, I need to go back and beat it. I think I've opened all the worlds now.
The environments were really nice. Like they got height to them as well. It's not like it's open world. It's semi-open world, isn't it?
Yeah. So the levels, I'd say, are reasonably quite big. They're about twice the size of. I'd say about Banjo-Tooie level size, weren't they?
But that's the kind of size of level I like. I mean, the problem with Yooka-Laylee is because the levels were so big, you kind of lost the element of the place you're in. In Mafia Town, you knew you were in Mafia Town.
Yeah.
I mean,
it had
everything,
height
the
as well.
Star, the height, the Mafia baddies. I felt in the town.
I felt no space was wasted as well. Like that's the thing. Like a large level, you end up with a lot of flab, like a lot of unused space.
And kind of like, what should we put in there to make it feel more
whereas like
where we're supposed to be?
One thing I say about A Hat in Time is a lot like the levels feel like they were very well designed and like planned out. So like there's no real wasted space. Like that means as well it doesn't take you very long to get where you need to go.
And I also think the character design is quite close to Wind Waker.
Yeah, it's probably the closest.
Link in Wind Waker, because if you look at the girl when the faces that she pulls is kind of similar to that way Link acts in Wind Waker, and I think it's just quite a cute sort of style, quite innocent, and quite you can do a lot with it. You can make them as comical or as serious as you want. You don't have to just have like a blank face sort of thing.
Was it you, Nick, that beat up the poor Roomba in the spaceship?
Yes. Yes, it was. Yeah.
There's a little Roomba going around your spaceship, which I think is just as like hilarious, and you actually get an achievement for standing on it.
Right. What was my weapon?
It was an umbrella.
Umbrella, yeah.
And the first thing Nick did, for some reason, he was filled with like rage, apparently, and he was just beating the Roomba with an umbrella until it went into the corner.
I do that with Hoovers in the real world.
And then
you
you were like, "Oh, where am I supposed to be going?" And I was like, "Back through that door that the game literally put you next to," and you're like. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot my favourite thing about this game in that whereas as you were saying with like Yooka-Laylee is that sometimes the objectives can be a bit like where am I supposed to be going? There's a specific button in Hat in Time which kind of just points you exactly where you should be looking.
Yeah, that is your default hat's ability.
Okay.
So when you get different hats, that button becomes the ability for each hat.
I love that. That's that's really.
But I think that's really good because like.
Because I'm an idiot and I don't know where I'm going half the time.
Well, that's a
It's a good hat to start with as well. Say you've just been dropped into Mafia Town. Out of all the hats to start with, you want to know where the objective is. You want to know how to get. And once they feel right, they know where they're going. They know this concept. Let's add more elements in.
And that, like detective vision from the Arkham games, just kind of.
Yeah. Although no skeletons.
No skeletons.
Poi had similar, but I don't think you could do it. You could trigger it at any time. It just at the beginning of the level, it kind of showed you an overview of where you needed to go, like almost like the Mario Galaxy games. Yeah. However, I will point out that in the very first level, you forgot where you were meant to be going.
Didn't I end up in a waterfall? I forgot where I was going as well.
Yeah.
That happened to me. I think.
Yeah. Trying to find that guy at the very, very, very top. I was just like, oh, there's coins over there. And you were like, why don't you just focus on, I need to be like over there somewhere, wrong way.
But yeah, Hat in Time, like, I don't often get like really into but like I would genuinely like buy that and play that.
I really wanted to come out on the PlayStation 4 because when we played it on my laptop at home, we were a little bit laggy, not much.
Yeah.
But if it could easily get worse.
It could
so
play
I really
it
wanted to come. Yeah. So it's one of those things that I would potentially risk buying because I like it so much. But then if I couldn't play it, then it'd be
my laptop wouldn't
upset.
Just wouldn't. But
So yeah, so I was going to say, I was going to kind of start wrapping things up with, well, which one would you want to play more of? But that's kind of...
answered that question, yeah.
Hat in Time.
Hat in Time.
Out of the remaining two, though, under the understanding that Poi is about a tenner, and Yooka-Laylee goes for the price of a full game, which is between 20 and 30 quid, which of those two would you buy?
I've already got Yooka-Laylee on the PlayStation 4. And I think I would still choose that over Poi personally because I love the Banjo-Kazooie games and it has elements of that, and the worlds are too big but the characters are still enduring, and Poi, it was fun to play through, but I didn't have the same connection with any of the characters as I did Hat in Time and Yooka-Laylee.
Yeah.
So.
I'd be tempted to go for Poi because like I like that whole. I love the original like Pokemon games, and I got a bit of that vibe from it. I felt like, oh, this could go anywhere, and it's on an airship, and it's kind of fun. Plus, I really, 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 really like the slide. So
nothing else. The slide sold it.
I'd be, and as you said, it's a tenner, so
yeah, just buy it.
just to go on the slide, it's worth it. Yeah.
Like. Nick, your boss said you hadn't showed up for work. I'm almost there, Phill. 0.1 seconds and I'm the fastest in the world.
So yeah, good fun. All three. Yeah. Really good fun, actually.
And I think it is a good sign for like those type of games because they kind of fell out of style for a few years. And I think we'll probably get a few more, especially now, because the reason I mentioned Mario Odyssey at the beginning is that's very much the same kind of style. In fact, Mario Odyssey probably takes just as much from Banjo-Kazooie as it does from Mario 64.
And it's got the hat concept as well, hasn't it? Because I've seen it.
The hats don't have ability. Oh no, you can throw your hat and
take someone else.
Yeah, but
which is interesting concept.
And also, you can put there's lots of different outfits you can unlock for Mario, all in game, no micro anything like that.
Wow.
Whoop, whoop.
This is another thing about these kind of like indie platforms as well. Is that like I personally am sick of the big games, like because they're all overpriced and they're all just for profit and they all do the same thing and it's all just shooting and multiplayer and stuff like that. These are like fun, colourful games that just kind of give the single player all. I mean, are any of them like split screen or dual control or anything like that?
Yooka-Laylee was advertised as having some kind of multiplayer, but I've never used it. It's got the mini games at the very least that you can do. But
they're all like they're good for like single player sort of.
Yeah. I think Hat in Time is purely one player, and I think
they don't feel as cynical as the sort of mainstream games.
Yeah, like when we come to do the end of year awards in a few weeks, there's quite a few good games I've played this year that are indie games. I actually think probably my nominations are going to be filled more with indie games than like AAA games. Even though it's been a good year for gaming as a whole, like games like Hollow Knight came out this year, which was another. That one was more of like a really dark but you were like a little bug man with a little sword.
But the difference was it was quite a dark environment, but the character again was still quite endearing, and you kind of like wanted to root for him. And it was what I watched of you playing it. It was really difficult.
Yeah,
you could die so easily.
Oh. Bear in mind, I've completed that game now. Do you know what you unlock when you complete the game?
What?
You complete like the next mode, which is called Steel Soul, where you have one life.
Oh.
Like if you died at any point, that's game over, like completely.
Oh no, I'm okay.
Another thing is we went straight from playing that to carrying on with our let's play of.
We had a gaming day.
But like to go from like the colour and the kind of the joy of those three games suddenly back into the
Hey.
lifeless soul that is Aliens Colonial Marines.
Not
It was a
bad.
real step down.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's a very...
Another optimistic episode.
Another optimistic episode. We
What's
really,
going on?
we really need to find something to not like.
Yeah.
It's not...
It's because this is 2017, this isn't 2016. 2016 was pretty miserable.
I was going to say 2016 was kind of a cynical year, so
Yeah.
optimistic year, that's
Yeah.
alright.
But no, we should find something real shit next week.
Yeah, so join us next week. We'll be covering something real shit.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, I do actually quite like our Let's Play of Aliens Colonial Marines. I think we're funny. Even if you watch and you disagree, I think we're hilarious, which is the main thing.
Even though we're we're pointed out to be factually wrong about everything in the Aliens universe, and we don't understand it, and we don't. Oh.
And we're not following the story right, and to be honest, you shouldn't lose a story from not paying attention.
I mean, that's the best comparison to Hat in Time. There should be a button in Colonial Marines that points you towards your objective, because it's just dark corridors after dark corridors.
It would have been the episode that just came out, wouldn't it? Where
you got lost and you put a turret.
Basically,
down.
the objective was to take this turret and put it somewhere specific. I thought they just wanted me to put it anywhere, so I walked into a room, put it down, walked off, and then nothing was happening. I was like, wait, what am I supposed to be doing?
You had to go and find
then
the
I
turret.
found this glowing spot in the shape of a turret, and Nick was like, I think you have to put the turret there, and I was like, oh, where did I put the turret? And it was looking for your keys.
That's the thing as well. The threat has completely gone, because you're just looking for shit that you should have picked up, and occasionally a very weak xenomorph will pop out, and you're just can you just fuck off while I find my turret?
I'm looking for my keys.
But
that's
keep up with that one. That's a good one.
Yeah, that's on our channel that goes up on Fridays. Also, follow us on Twitter at Cynical Podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Check out the Abridged Being Nick's channel, because we're almost to the end of that series now. We've got actually a kind of different type of podcast going up over the next few weeks, which is me and Vicky looking back over the series.
5 years.
7 years.
7 years even.
Jeez.
7 years. Yeah.
Anything else you guys want to plug whilst we're here?
But
7 years.
Mr. Cox could have made 130 games in that amount of time.
Yeah, and we've made 45 episodes.
He's just a show off.
Yeah, he's a show off.
Workaholic.
But yeah, thank you, Vicky, for joining us. I hope you've enjoyed yourself today.
Oh yes.
And thank you for listening. Next week, the topic will be something shit, I guess. I don't actually know. But it'll be fun anyway.
And tune in to find out.
Yeah. So join us next Monday for another episode of the Cynical Optimists. I have been Phill.
And I've been Nick.
And I've been Vicky.
Hey.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you for having me.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.